For a moment, I would like you to imagine yourself at a party. Maybe a party that you have been to or one that you have given for family and friends. Let's say it's a costume party, and people are there with altered ways of seeing each other. Everyone has a fresh start and a new beginning, at being a different person. Everyone at the party is having a wonderful time, talking, laughing, enjoying each other, and sharing the happiness of a really good time. But then you notice someone over in the corner, all alone and sulking, miserable in his isolation and loneliness. You go over and try to talk to him, but all you get for your trouble are a few grunts and a sour look. The more you try to break through his isolation, the more you discover that he is disgusted with people who have a good time and resentful that you have even given a party. It's almost as if everyone else doesn't have a right to have a good time because he is miserable, and he wants everyone else to be miserable too. Now let me point out that God is throwing a party for us. He made the earth a garden of beauty. Even in the Garden of Eden, when things didn't turn out right, God started over. And he did it so he did that again and again, until finally he sent his son to throw a party, a celebration in a new garden, the Garden of Resurrection. The prophet Isaiah said, "On this mountain the Lord of hosts will provide all peoples a feast of rich food and choice wines. And on this mountain he will destroy death forever." St. Mathew said, "The servant went out and rounded up everyone they met, the bad as well as the good." When the king came to meet the guest, however, he caught sight of a man not properly dressed for a wedding feast. The point of all of this is that we come to God's party, his banquet of life, not because we have earned a right to be there, not because we can buy an invitation, not because of our friends who may have political influence, but simply because he gives us our entrance out of his free generosity and mercy. But there is a more subtle point here. The bad as well as the good are at the party. All are predestined to attend. All are there with new faces, as new persons, with new beginnings, because the forgiveness of God has made them new again. New persons with new histories, new beginnings. All of the past mistakes and our sins are blotted out because we are wearing new clothes, new costumes, because we are wearing his wedding garments, clothed with his gifts. God's judgment is his mercy. Our predestination allows us to be made over again, the bad as well as the good. The difficulty comes in our response to God's invitation to his party. After all is said and done, God offers and we respond. He wants us to have a good time, a joyful time with him in his world, in the life he has given us. The difficulty is found in those who sit off in the corner sulking, muttering to themselves and hating all of those who are enjoying themselves in God's party. There are people who don't like to receive anything at all, even gifts. We all know them. Perhaps we may even see them in ourselves. They are the ones who tell us, "I'll pay for everything I get. I can earn my way and I don't need anyone's charity." That attitude is particularly noticeable when it comes to receiving forgiveness. Many people just can't say I'm sorry, or confess their sins. They simply cannot receive the gift of forgiveness. Why? Well, for a lot of reasons, I suppose, but I think the big reason is pride. It's found in the fact that receiving forgiveness means an admission of need, the fear of being dependent upon another's love. Perhaps there are many reasons, but they all mean that these kind of people do come to God's party, to God's celebration of life. They come without a wedding garment, the garment that is being clothed with Christ. They cannot rid themselves of their past and be seen in a new light as a new person. It means they can't join the party and are bitterly resentful of those that do. Receiving a free gift is difficult because one immediately feels an obligation, feels indebted, feels a sudden loss of independence and self-sufficiency. It happens at Christmas, birthdays, it happens in moments of crisis. It happens when we need forgiveness. God has given us life and He wants us to enjoy ourselves in this life. By giving us life, He is throwing a banquet for us, a feast of rich food and choice wines. He knows that we will make mistakes, and so He is prepared to reconcile us in the death and resurrection of His only Son. Ultimately, when at the end of our lives we are judged by God, He will see our humanity in the humanity of His Son, and He will judge us in that way. But that means that we have to come to God's banquet table of life properly dressed in the wedding garment offered to us by His Son. It means putting off our old clothes of self-sufficiency, independence, and isolation. It means putting on the wedding garment of acceptance of ourselves and the limitations and imperfections that we all have. Acceptance of our need for forgiveness. Acceptance of the gift God's Son offered to us through His mercy. Our destiny is there, but the consequences of our life rest in our own decisions. What will be the sum total of our lives' decisions when we die? What will they all add up to? To know the answer to that question, we only have to examine the pattern of our daily lives and our willingness to receive these gifts of God so freely given. The gift of life, the gift of relationships with others that are a blessing to us in this life. Surely, in this instance, I believe it is more blessed to receive than to give.